can't beat getting into a preheated car. I love it this time of year, it's brilliant. And that kind of is my topic of today, really. I want to talk about the app that connects from your phone to your Nissan Leaf. I want to look at the current one, potentially what looks like it's going to be the one for the 2018 Leaf, and give you an option, something, a kind of an aftermarket one, if you like, an alternative to the current app, and look at the pros and cons around that. Better home now with a coffee in my hand. So let's start by looking at the official Nissan Leaf Connect app that it's been going pretty much since the Nissan Leaf was first launched, and it's been, well, the theory behind it and when it works, it's absolutely brilliant, and I'll take you through it. There's been a bit of an update done to it. They had some issues at the beginning of 2016 when there was a security flaw with it and they had to take it offline completely, and that seemed to go on forever. But it's up and running now, and the main glitch with it seems to be the servers. And I don't know the ins and outs how it works, but basically when it's really, really cold and you want to access your car remotely, quite often there's an issue with it. Quite often it will not get through and you cannot, for love nor money, put the preheat on in your car. Now there is a way around that by setting up timers, but it just seems like they don't have the capacity to allow everybody to connect at the time when people want to connect most. Anyway, what I want to do, I'm hoping I can make this work. I'm going to try and record my screen, and while I'm recording it, I'm going to show you basically how it all works. So here is the Nissan app. Now when you connect initially, it does take a while, and this is it sending a signal off to Nissan with my username, password, etc., which it remembers, and then it comes back with the last time that it was updated. So at on the 23rd of January at 12:53. So I did update it a little while ago. Now, if I want to get the most up to date, I push this little spinny arrow, and that's it now requesting the state of my vehicle at the moment. Now, well, actually, it'll be the same because it's been sat in the driveway since I last pushed the button. But this will give you an idea, really, in real time, how slow this app is. And this is another one of the big criticisms. If you want to do anything on it, it does take a little while. And I think the way that they could improve this straight off is by, as soon as you connect, allowing the user to press the climate button, because for me, and I think most people, 9 times out of 10, all you want to do is turn the preheat or the air conditioning on. That's all you're interested in. And if you can do that without having to sit here and wait for this sort of amount of time every time you want to do anything, then we'll be really happy with it. Now, that's it updated, so that gives you an idea just how long it takes. So at the moment, you can see that if I was going to drive my car with the air conditioning on, I've got 55 miles left. If I drive it with the air conditioning off, it's 56 miles, so not a lot of difference at the moment. Then you see the bars, how full my battery is, so you can see I'm 8 out of 12 bars, and then next out you can see if it's plugged in or not. Below that you can see that if I was to plug it in now on my 3 kilowatt charger, it would take 3.5 hours to charge to full. And that's basically the front screen. Now if you want to put the preheat on, and this is, as I say, what most people will do, you press this little fan button here, it sends a signal off again, you have to wait. Then you turn climate control on, again you just have to wait a minute, and that's it. So now probably in about 30 seconds my car will kick into life and put the preheat on. So that's quite straightforward. What else have we got here? At the bottom we've got this little petrol pump. So if you had your car plugged in and you had it on a timer to time at only certain times, you can override that and tell it to start charging. And then we've got some other interesting bits and pieces on here. So the car with the information button is information about my car and how I drive it. So from today, I've travelled 13.5 miles today, 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. It's very cold outside and I haven't been hanging about. But probably more interestingly, monthly data. So you can have a look at this month. In the month of January, I've travelled 595.2 miles. with an average consumption of 3.3 miles per kilowatt hour. That's 182.2 kilowatt hours. Been in the car for 21.5 hours, saved 165 kilograms of carbon or CO2. And then there's some graphs that you can compare and contrast and have a look at. So it's quite interesting. And we can do that over a year as well, which I can't remember the last time I did that. Let's go back to 2017. So there you go, over 13,000 miles I averaged over the year. That's a bit more interesting because this shows obviously summer and winter driving, 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is kind of what I'm used to doing. And yeah, I mean, I don't need to read that to you. You can see exactly what it says. So some really interesting facts and figures. But do I use that a lot? No, I probably look at it a couple of times a year at most. And then we can look at how I drive the car, so my acceleration performance, and it rates me out of 5. And what's this one? I don't think I've ever looked at this one. Oh, so it's set up with how much my electricity costs, and then it gives us an idea of how much it's cost me in January. So it seems to think I've spent £21.86 on electricity in the month of January. So that's only as good, obviously, as the information you give it. And finally, we've got this route planning function, which is great as a route planner, and probably the advantage that this has over other ways of route planning is that you can then send it to your car once you've planned your route, and it will come up in the car. It's not particularly straightforward, but it's possible. But one thing that I've found, if I put in Bournemouth to, I don't know, Birmingham, for example, and calculate route, what it'll do is show you where you're going to charge on the way. But unfortunately, Nissan is very limited in the chargers that it has available to it. So hopefully this will come up soon. You'll see that, yes, it's got some rapid chargers, but also it will probably, again, I haven't done this one before, but I know from previous experiences, it'll probably give me some home chargers. And yeah, there we go. So you can see the square chargers are the rapid chargers, these little plug ones. If I pull up the details, it's a domestic connector. So there's a kind of an overview really of the Nissan Connect app. And that's where we are at the moment. As I say, the biggest problems are connecting to it and the time it takes. So that's the official app from Nissan. What I want to do now is have a look at one that's like an aftermarket one that a third-party company have made and designed, and that's called EVA. Now, before I go any further, if you've got Android, then this doesn't work on Android. There's a third-party app called Leaf Manager on there. Unfortunately, I don't have an Android device, so I can't tell you too much about it. I've already logged into this to save a little bit of time. So it takes about the same amount of time when you first start it up as the official app to log in. Basically, it still goes through the same process, goes to Nissan servers and pulls the information into the phone. Very much the same information on the screen, 58%, got 56 miles range, or 54 if I use the aircon. So more or less the same. It's probably a little bit different now because I had that preheat running. To charge up 3 kilowatts, it's saying it's going to take me 4 hours. Now, this is quite simplistic in comparison to the Nissan one. So I've got a couple of options here. I can press on this button. If I was plugged in and I was on a timed charger, I could override that and start the car charging. And the little fan, I can turn the climate control on or set the timer. And in fact, I can set the time on the app in the Nissan one as well. I didn't go through that, but you can do that. And the bar across the bottom just gives you a visual representation of how many bars of energy you've got. And that's pretty much it. It's quite a nice, simple app. You can, a couple of little things you can change on there, but overall, just a very simplistic, I want to charge or I want to turn my aircon on, which, to be honest, 99% of the time, that's exactly what you want to do. You don't want to be faffed with all the rest. So they're the two main ones that you have available to you at the moment. And if you've got any experiences, let me know. But as I say, my experiences are neither one is really better than the other one. The official one has a lot more options. They both struggle to connect at times, but ultimately they both work and they both do the job. So that brings me on to the brand new 2018 Nissan Connect app. Now, I don't actually have the app because it's only been released in America, and as hard as I've tried to get it on my phone, it won't allow me to connect to the US store. But I've got the information about it, and I just thought we'd go through it and have a little look and see what they have to say about it and where it might differ. So this is the Nissan USA website, and it's got some screenshots here of the new app. So if we have a look, it looks like there's a straightforward start-stop charging. Looks like we still get the same information around the range and the percentage, and turning climate control on and off. There's the route planner, and there's a car finder. Now that's interesting. I wonder if that's going to be available on all models. So I'm guessing that's there's some sort of GPS in the car, and it will talk with the app, so you can, if you lose your car, you can go and find it. It looks a lot simpler. Looks like a lot more user friendly just on the surface of it. So it says that you can change your dashboard, so make it the app look how you want it to look. Push notifications, which we've got anyway. Remote climate control. There we go. So locate your car using an in-app map, MY16 and MY17 only. So it's only going to be available on certain models. Plug-in reminder, so reminds you to charge it. Remote charge start, all stuff we've already got. So then they've also designed, and this is of interest to me, I have an Apple Watch, so you'll be able to use your Apple Watch in conjunction with the app. Now this one's of interest to me. I'm not going to say the name because it will spark my one off, but if you've got this Amazon personal assistant, you can now talk to it and ask it to do things like warm up your car, and the remote charging start, etc. All the bits and pieces we've looked at before. It looks like you can ask her to do it for you, which is great. There was a kind of a aftermarket skill that some people got to work. I tried and couldn't get it to work. So it'd just be nice to be able to ask that personal assistant to turn your heating on. So that's a really nice feature. What else? There's pretty much all the same things there as we've had before. So it looks like a nice little update actually, with some of the features that we've been asking for, and a much clearer, crisper display. So hopefully that will be available in the UK as soon as the Leaf becomes available, which I'm hoping is any day now. Yeah, hopefully that's been of some interest to you today. It's one of the areas that people ask a lot about. People are always interested about the app and how it works, and especially when if you're anything like me, I've had a couple of neighbours live next door to me that have had 60,000+ cars sat on the driveway, and I love going out to my nice de-iced Leaf in the morning while they're scraping theirs off with scrapers. It's a lovely feature, and I think it's one of the real pluses of owning an EV. So yeah, let's hope that Nissan keep improving it. But that's it for now. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's vlog. If you have, remember to like and share, and if you're not doing so already, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.